5. Live from the Naval Air Station at South Weymouth, it's the New England Air Show. Experience the danger of aircraft acrobatics, the thrill of heart-stopping military maneuvers, featuring one of the world's most elite flying teams, the Air Force Thunderbirds. Here are your hosts, Natalie Jacobson and Chet Curtis.
Well, thank you and good afternoon and welcome to the Naval Air Station at South Weymouth on a perfectly gorgeous day. The weather could not be more ideal for the New England Air Show.
What a lineup we have for you today. A number of people are already out here. We have 4 hours of terrific entertainment, whether you're a pilot or not. There's something for you here today.
We've got the Air Force Thunderbirds. We have the Golden Knights. We've got Sean Tucker. We've got Mike Goulian, the local flavor. Michael from Arlington, Massachusetts. And we have Susan Warnick, who's joining us down on the tarmac in with the crowd. Susan?
Boy, could this be a more perfect day. I don't think so. Bright, sunny skies, about 72 degrees, and there is tremendous excitement in the air. Probably about 100,000 people are expected to be here this afternoon. They began arriving at 8 a.m. when the crowd started coming. The gates opened, and everybody grabbed a seat, and there are plenty of good seats around. But right now, I want you to meet somebody that I met earlier. Amanda. Amanda, this is a big day for Amanda, because not only did she lose a tooth, show everybody. See, she lost that tooth right there. But is this your first air show?
No.
How many air shows have you seen?
I don't know.
A lot? You think you'll be a pilot when you grow up, Amanda?
No.
So that's why you feel very lucky that you can just sit and watch it, because you don't have to do it, right?
Yeah.
I know a little something about that, honey. Well, I hope you enjoy the show. That's one of the great things about this afternoon. It is a real family day, and there are just hundreds of families out here. I'd say that probably the kids outnumber the adults by at least 3 or 4 to 1, and we're going to have a wonderful time. Chet and Nat?
All right, Susan, thanks. Everybody is a kid at an air show, I'll tell you. There's so much to see, and it just is going to get better as we begin here very, very shortly. Joining us now at the anchor desk, that makes 3 licensed pilots, is Australian-born Gordon Bowman-Jones. Gordon has traveled the world, narrating air shows, doing the play-by-play, as it were, and we're very pleased and honored to have him with us, joining Natalie and I at the anchor desk here. Welcome, Gordon.
Thank you very much indeed, Chet and Natalie, and we have got beautiful weather here, turned on exactly for us. Severe clear, I think, is what we call it.
Spectacular.
And you know what I'm looking forward to, Gordon, also, is the talk that we will be able to do between us and the pilots while they're actually performing this afternoon. That's going to give us an inside look that is a real treat.
Absolutely right. Direct from the cockpit out to Channel 5.
Gordon, there's quite a lineup here today. Perhaps you might just reflect on that for just a moment or two, the lineup that we have during the next 4 hours.
Yes, we have a combination of course, the finest that the military has to offer with the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. The Golden Knights, of course, the Army parachute team.
Let me just interrupt you. Those pictures are live now. Well, they were live. We're live here, too. But from the DC-3, the Legend Airways DC-3, which is owned by Eric Fleming. I'm sorry.
Yes, Eric was flying around, and I know that is a beautiful, beautiful machine. And I also had the opportunity of flying that great big round one this morning, the Gulf Blimp, which was absolutely
You've had an
superb.
opportunity to fly just about everything we're going to see today, Gordon.
The only thing that bothered me about that flight this morning was bird strikes from behind. But other than that, it was a fabulous experience.
Yeah, the Blimp is not necessarily a speed demon. Interestingly, the Naval Air Station at South Weymouth was once a blimp base, a Navy blimp base. And it's been a while since a blimp has flown in or out of here.
Absolutely. There we are live now, actually. It's not live, it's tape. That's from earlier this morning. Flying in the blimp. And at that, if you look closely at the airspeed indicator there, we were flying just slightly below the speed of smell.
How slow and how fast can it go?
Actually, it can go backwards, so that's as slow as it can go. And as fast as it can go is about 54 knots. So windy days, you've got to be careful.
A little tricky landing one of those things, getting it back on the ground. And if there is a little breeze here today.
There is, and in fact, the captain of the blimp was telling me when you land the blimp, the trick is that you have to land it just at the point when you lose control, the ground crew gain control. So it's a very, very delicate balance.
The pucker factor moves up about 10.
Exactly.
We'll be getting underway here shortly. Just wanted to say that air shows, I think a lot of people don't realize this, second in popularity in the United States. It's really a wonderful spectator event, and it's pretty obvious why.
Absolutely, yes. Second only to National League Baseball, comes ahead of football, and the white demographics are amazing. You'll see every age range here, every income range, and it really is an appeal that is very broad-based.
It's definitely a Benny here for us. You know, both Ted and I are licensed pilots, although he's more experienced than I tell him the reason he can fly a lot is because he has me to do everything else for him. But just kidding. No, I'm not. But we're thrilled to be here. It's a lot of fun for us and hopefully for you, so you'll stay with us throughout the afternoon.
We have 4 hours. There's still time to get here if you live nearby. There are static displays, too, not just the aerial demonstrations and performances that we'll be seeing, but there are a number of military aircraft that are parked here. You can crawl around them, look at them. There are representatives from the Navy, from the Air Force to tell you about the airplanes, to describe some of the features, and we're about ready to get underway.
We're just about ready for showtime.
The Golden Knights are already in the air. They took off about 11:30.
Right.
And we should expect them when, Gordon?
They should be coming out of those aircraft right about 12:05. We'll be looking for the team leader, actually, to exit from the helicopter, first of all, the Aloha helicopter, followed by the rest of the team.
All right, we'll be back to resume our live coverage of the New England Air Show after we pause for this.
Up next, witness the free-falling finesse of the U.S. Army Golden Knights.
Did I get any messages?
Dr. Kravitz, you have a visitor in the main lobby. Dr. Kravitz?
There are some things in life that tell you it's time to see your Ford dealer about a new family vehicle. During Ford's Family Value Days, a special shipment of the all-new Windstar has arrived. They're value-packed with standard features like dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, and more. Plus, they're hundreds less than Dodge Grand Caravan. Hurry into Ford's Family Value Days, going on now.
Lots of gasolines talk performance, but no gasoline delivers it to more drivers than Shell. Shell, the world's best-selling gasoline.
All over the world, when people are late, you're guaranteed to hear excuses.
The alarm clock broke.
Mein Goldfisch ist gestorben.
Probleme d'acheveux.
Oh. At UPS, however, we guarantee we'll be on time. In fact, we now guarantee on-time delivery to hundreds of cities around the world, or your money back. So while you might hear, you'll never hear it from us.
We're back with our live coverage when we're underway.
You're listening to the national anthem, and you're seeing the first jumper from the Golden Knights, the Army Precision Team. That's extraordinary.
Watch him. He's going to hit that spot on the taxiway there, a little circle about 2 inches in diameter.
He is going to nail it, and that is what the Golden Knights are famous for, and that is precision parachute jumping, and that's precisely what we're seeing.
Yes.
Gordon, give us the secret behind that perfect landing. How does he control himself?
Hundreds and hundreds of jumps, and the parachute is actually controlled by two toggles, left and right. The parachute has a forward speed of about 22 miles per hour, and as you saw there, he was hovering almost in space, which meant that he was experiencing a wind of about 20 miles per hour as he was coming down there, which allowed him to come down vertically and make that tiptoe landing.
That was, he actually jumped out of the helicopter, out of the Robinson helicopter, and as Gordon put it earlier, he's going to be batted out of the helicopter.
Yes, that was a serve, as they call it, smack, and down you go.
And what follows?
What follows, he pulls, of course, almost immediately from that altitude. 2,000 feet is the normal minimum altitude at which you pull. And the type of parachute that they're jumping is a rectangular parachute. It actually is like a semi-rigid wing. The parachute itself has inflatable cells. Each of those cells inflate, and it flies like a wing.
Here's what it looks like to one of the parachutists. This was taped yesterday. One of the Golden Knights was wearing a camera on his helmet. And there's a spectacular view of it. Just breathtaking. Look at them link up. There's helmet cam.
That's incredible.
And that is known as free fall relative work as they come down. And here we see the colors now being folded out on the ramp. We're back to live television here.
One of the Golden Knights, by the way, and the rest of them are, about 12,000 feet above the Naval Air Station right now in their jump plane. One of them is Sergeant Scott Campbell of South Weymouth. His family is here today. And we'll be looking at some more pictures from that helmet cam, too, which are pretty spectacular.
Absolutely.
Yesterday was sort of a dress rehearsal day for many of the performers, including the Golden Knights.
Little history here on the parachute team. They came into being in 1959. They began with 7 men from the Army Special Forces training in free falling. They have jumped from the Statue of Liberty, Epcot Center, Mount Rushmore, and in 1989 at the inauguration of George Bush at the Lincoln Memorial.
And Natalie, I've just heard word that we are now ready. Sergeant First Class John Hawk from Cabot, Vermont is down there at center stage and ready to take away. Take it away, Sergeant.
From the early days of flight to the first step on the moon, man has relied extensively on a small deceleration device known as the parachute. Created initially to save a pilot's life as he jumped from his disabled aircraft, parachuting has evolved through modern aviation technology to become the sport of the space age. Good afternoon, Massachusetts. I'm Sergeant First Class John Hawk from nearby Cabot, Vermont. It has just been my proud honor to fly in our nation's colors on my 1,497th free fall parachute jump. I will narrate for you a demonstration of precision free fall as performed by members of your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. Please direct your attention high overhead at Show Center, where you'll see the black silhouette of our C-31 Friendship aircraft as the first 2 jumpers will perform the first of 4 separate maneuvers for you today. As the aircraft crosses overhead, the standby or thumbs up signal is given. Watch momentarily for 2 jumpers to exit the aircraft. The jumpers are out and the smoke is on. As they glide apart to achieve separation, they keep an eye on each other and execute a 180-degree turn in preparation for a baton exchange between these 2 jumpers. They will fly their bodies together using hands, arms, and shoulders as flight controls to exchange a 14-inch mahogany baton in the classic baton pass maneuver. You see the jumpers gliding forward gently now, making a successful top and changing their body positions to create a beautiful 120-mile-per-hour spiral in the sky. At 3,500 feet, the 2 jumpers will separate in preparation for opening their main parachute. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the high-flying black and gold of your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. baton pass jumpers work their way back in this direction, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce to you a very important person, a guest of the gold demonstration team out here on Show Center today. From Washington, D.C., the Department of Defense Aviation Liaison Officer for all 3 Department of Defense demonstration teams, a veteran of 26 free-fall jumps. He is a naval commander, and his name is Mike Manazzer. Give him a wave, sir. Quite a bit longer than I normally do. We have a lot of wind up there, ladies and gentlemen, and it's also very hot, creating a lot of thermals coming off the runways. So I got a special treat, and I got to watch the beautiful Boston skyline on today's beautiful blue skies for a little bit of extra time. Our first jumper now turning on what we call a wind penetration check. He's gauging his speed across the ground, pulling down on both toggles, and backing the parachute up slightly to get him as close to the target as possible. If you look at the back part of the parachute, you see the back part curling down as he pulls down on both steering toggles to maneuver himself behind the target, allowing himself the opportunity for a little bit of forward speed to get himself as close to the center of the target as possible. A nice stand-up target landing, followed by a dead center with a POW-MIA flag. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever wondered what would happen if a parachute did not work, then watch closely, because you're about to find out. Our next Golden Knight has exited the airplane and ignited his smoke canister as he glides toward his opening point. He is wearing 3 parachutes instead of the 2 that we would normally wear. He will intentionally cause the first parachute to malfunction, demonstrating the procedure normally used in the unlikely event of a parachute emergency. Please do not be alarmed when this canopy begins the streamer, as he practices this maneuver often, and there is no added danger to the jumper. Watch momentarily for a circular green canopy to inflate. And the canopy is now inflated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is in fact a perfectly good parachute. But for the purposes of this demonstration, he will release one side of the parachute, causing it to malfunction. The canopy is now streamering as the jumper accelerates earthward. It would be impossible for him to survive a landing under this parachute, so he must release it completely. Return to freefall, and deploy the ever-familiar black and gold main canopy of the Golden Knight. I am happy to announce that once more, science and technology have triumphed over fear and superstition, as our cutaway jumper spirals himself down, leaving a pretty red smoke trail behind him, creating a great photo opportunity for you here this afternoon. What you just saw is the procedure that's actually used in the unlikely event of a parachute emergency. The auxiliary or reserve parachute used by the Army parachute team is also a flexible wing glider, much like the one you see now. The major differences are that it's white in color, and it has a smaller wing surface area, creating a master forward speed of up to 30 miles per hour. Any tight situation or a major league stadium. The released canopy you see floating earthward will be recovered, untangled, and repacked for the next show tomorrow. Folks, if this canopy does in fact make the crowd line, please do not attempt to catch it, because our recovery team is on the way. Our cutaway jumper now doing his wind penetration check and rotating around downwind, 180 degrees. He will shortly make a right-hand turn and set himself up on his final approach directly off to the side and on top of the target. Smooth hand movements are a must here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, with today's bumpy conditions. Watch now as the countless training jumps pay off and get this Golden Knight once more on target. And now, gentlemen, an amazing display of lateral separation and mobility. Our next two Golden Knights will perform the diamond track maneuver, separately at aircraft now with the smoke burning. Each jumper snaps into a rigid body position, which is resembling that of an Olympic ski jumper, gaining as much lift as humanly possible. Silhouetted against the clouds, the smoke trails are difficult to see. Nevertheless, you can see the jumpers streaking across the sky at speeds of 180 miles per hour. As these two tracking teammates execute 180-degree turns, each must first locate a thin red trail of smoke on the horizon, and then trace it down to his partner, who is at a speed of over 300 miles per hour. Watch with me now as we look at and watch live. Hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen, and let's watch for the cross. Diamond tracking team starts off the year together at our winter training period at Yuma Proving Grounds in Yuma, Arizona. It's there that they perfect their flight to flawlessly perform each show diamond track with the utmost of precision and safety. Normally, a tracking team will stay together for the entire show season and will only track with one another because you must have a great deal of trust and confidence in someone streaking directly at you at 180 miles per hour. As the first of the Diamond Trackers turns around on his final approach, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the air crew of the Sir Friendship aircraft today. Flying in the left seat from Roswell, New Mexico, is Chief Warrant Officer 4 Darrell Alexander. His co-pilot from McRae, Georgia, is Chief Warrant Officer 4 Preston Spires, and the crew chief from Morgantown, West Virginia, Specialist Tammy Mayfield. As our first Golden Knight lands on target, a great warm round of applause for our air crew. More, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention. Overhead, where you see the black silhouette of our C-31 Friendship aircraft inbound for the fourth and final pass of today's demonstration. On this final run, you'll witness the excitement of the classic Golden Knight Diamond Formation, where four jumpers will separately exit the aircraft and fly their bodies expertly together to within inches of one another, never making contact during the entire jump. The jumpers are out, the smoke is on. As the team leader takes his heading in this direction, the wingman and slot flyers key off his movement to form a wide diamond. Since vocal commands cannot be heard in free fall, you see now the team leader has waved his arms, signaling each jumper to take his respective position, simultaneously closing to form the tight diamond formation. Right wing closes in now for a tight diamond formation with one column of smoke. At 4,500 feet, The team leader will signal each jumper to take his respective position for our spectacular bomb burst maneuver. Once more, I give you the high-flying black and gold canopies of your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. As you may have guessed, these jumpers are faced with something of a unique situation, a bit of a traffic jam in the sky. They must gain vertical separation to allow for individual approaches into the target area, especially in today's windy, bumpy conditions. This is accomplished, as you see now, by pulling down on the front part of the parachute and spiraling it down at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. Once this is accomplished, this stack of parachutes might look like a busy landing pattern of airplanes here at South Weymouth on a busy day. The stack leader for the diamond formation turning himself in and transferring his concentration from the windsock located in the target area to the small 6-inch black dot located at the center of the cross-shaped target. It's here that he maintains his focus as he lets the parachute fly.
You're looking at Scott Campbell's family. Scott Campbell of South Weymouth, Massachusetts, is one of the Golden Knights that you see parachuting back to earth here after a spectacular performance. Scott Campbell of South Weymouth, there's his proud family watching.
His partner close behind him has had the benefit of watching the stack leader's approach and has used that information to place himself in the perfect spot to get the glide slope, to glide gently into the center of the cross target. If you'll look at the side profile of these Ram Air parachutes, you'll notice that it is in fact shaped like the cross-section of an airplane wing. This jumper is using the controls to maneuver himself as the winds gust up on him for a safe parachute landing. Our next Golden Knight, flying the flag of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is our salute to the hospitality that we've received since our arrival here. And another Golden Knight on target. And our final jumper is in fact the lightest jumper on the team. He stays up a lot longer than the rest of his teammates, and therefore he gets most of the picture. So take advantage, ladies and gentlemen. Another Golden Knight target landing. The Gold Demonstration Team will travel to nearly 40 different locations within the United States and Canada and have the good fortune of being able to travel to Berlin, Germany next weekend for a tri-services demonstration across the water. Of our jumpers dons the maroon beret of today's modern airborne forces, I'd like to introduce each jumper in order of their performance. Performing the difficult duties of ground control, from the island of Puerto Rico, the assistant team leader for the Gold Demonstration Team with 1,337 free fall jumps, Sergeant First Class Nelson Lynn.
All right, an absolutely spectacular performance by the Army's Golden Knight parachute team, including a representative from South Weymouth. We'll be back to continue our live coverage, and hopefully we'll get a look at the F-117 Stealth. First, let's pause.